Now from here on in, I'll refer to that Yeats voice as the FO voice, or the FY voice, or the FYI voice, I standing for intensely or immensely. Right? And we'll hear it directed towards petty bourgeois morals, piousness, and old age. But the old age with which I will finish my talk is tempered by passage, by a fusion of conflict and resolution that is truly profound. Because as with Yeats, advocating revolution, or he's articulating some type of resolution that we've never really considered. I also noted about Easter 1916 as I pored over it that there's this sensational movement between death and birth, between execution and eternal life enshrined in the mythology of the country as a result of the poem. Even this opposition in the phrase terrible beauty, this oxymoron. The received ideas we have about birth, a beginning, and death, closure, and beauty, they're in collision, and yet they make a certain type of ennobling sense. Next day in the exam, I wrote about Yeats's voice, and how in it one can hear his clearly evident political convictions married to a profound as a type of secular rebirth. My perception of poetry in particular up to this point had to be revised. Until this point, I thought of poetry as otherworldly. I understood Joyce's stories, and I understood Beckett's plays as enactments. But I'd always thought of politics as something that happened separate to the world, which is why I never really got Yeats until I realized that he was both and that such a position was possible. It was a new beginning regarding how to think about poetry in society. So I'll stick with this theme for a moment, central theme. Let's call it Of Death in the End, the Beginning. And I want to consider The Tower, which is where the title comes from, the title of this poem. We're going to consider The Tower and another poem called Under Ben Bulben, in the context of aging, which by the time I'd read them university, 1986-87, I had a profound understanding of the fragility, our fragility of aging, of death, which I didn't have when I was 50. Now, what shall I do with this absurdity? Oh heart, oh troubled heart, this caricature, decrepit age that has been tied to me as to a dog's tail. Never had I more excited, passionate, fantastical imagination, nor an eye and ear that more expected the impossible. No, not in boyhood, when with rod and fly or the humble worm I climbed Ben Bulben's back and had the livelong summer day to spend. Ben Bulben. That's Ben Bulben mountain in County Sligo. That's under Ben Bulben. Right? And under Ben Bulben is where Yeats is now, in Drumcliff Graveyard. Peter's been there to this very side. Cast a cold eye at life on death, horseman passed by. His lines are from the poem Under Ben Bulben. Under Ben Bulben's head in Drumcliff churchyard, Yeats is laid. An ancestor was rector there long years ago. A church stands near by the road, an ancient cross, no marble, no conventional phase. On limestone quarried near the spot, by his command these words are cut. Cast a cold eye on life, on death. Horse by, or horseman pass by. It's interesting here, you see under Ben Bulben in the churchyard, and then back here, no, not in boyhood, when with rod and fly or the humble worm, I climb Ben Bulben's back. You see these opposites, top, bottom? He's all over the place. It's like Yeats's genetic imprint on the very landscape, the topos of the place. Now, that's the art centre in Sligo, Sligo Arts Centre. And that's Gary Phelan and Sarah Glennie. They're very good friends of mine. They're married couple. Gary would be laughing at the idea of me standing up here now talking about Yeats and Belvedere and schoolyards. They had his daughter called Sophie. They worked here in Sligo Arts Centre. And 2 years ago, their daughter died. And they were having a remembrance service. And he wrote to me, because I do literature, he said, can you find something that we could use? So I was thinking, what are we going to, what? And that's the shot from their garden. He took that photograph of Ben Bulben. So I'm thinking about it, and then just bear with me for a second. I thought of this. I played it as a musical version. It's a poem by Yeats called The Stolen Child. And it mentions the entire region. It's almost, anyway. Gary's an artist, visual artist. It's the last piece he did before they left Sligo. It's called Untitled.
Dips the rocky highland of Sleuthwood and the lake. There lies the leafy island where flapping herons, lousy water rats. There we hid our fairy vats full of berries and the reddest stolen cherries.
Come away, human child, to the water. Come away, human child, to the water and the wild. With the fairy hand in hand.
The wave of moonlight glosses the dim grey sands with light. Far off by furthest rosses we footed all the night, weaving olden dances, mingling hands and mingling glances, till the moon has taken flight. To and fro we leap, chasing frothy bubbles, while the world is full of troubles and is anxious in its sleep.
Human child, to the water. Come away, human child, to the waters and the wild. With the fairy hand in hand. For the world's more full of weeping than you can understand.
Where the wandering water gushes from the hills above Glencar and pools among the rushes that scarce could bathe a star. We seek for slumbering trout, and whispering in their ears we give them inquiet dreams. Leaning softly out from ferns that drop their tears over the young streams. us he is going, the solemn-eyed. He'll hear no more the lowing of the calves on a warm hillside, or the kettle on the hob sing peace into his breast, or see the brown mice bob around and around the oatmeal chest.
For here comes
For he comes,
the human child
the human child,
to the water. Here comes
he comes,
the human
the
child
human child,
to the water and the wild.
with the fairy
With
hand
the
in
fairy
hand,
hand in hand.
from a world more full of weeping,